I'm doing an impromptu live stream just because I figure I do Qigong every morning anyways, and I thought I'd let you participate along. I'm probably not going to do as much teaching as I normally do if I were doing a live stream that I had. If any of you are up and you wanted to join me for a little Qigong this morning, I'd have you start and join me. So every morning I kind of do the same little basic routine to start with. I'm not going to live stream the whole thing because it's long. My morning routine is somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending upon the morning. So this morning I've probably got about an hour and a half because I messed around a little bit with this setup to try to do this for everybody in case anybody was interested. But if you'd like to join me, go ahead. I always start off with a little counter swing. So I start with just sort of my bouncing expansion, just nice and slow, deep breaths. Remember all our basic structure. Just staying in the triangles of the feet, which is the load-bearing portion of the foot, expanding through the legs. Getting that sense of the dantian, or the center, really expanding from the center, spreading through your whole being and back in and down. I always use this time, I usually do like 8 repetitions, really focused. And I'll use this time with each one to kind of go through the 8 trigrams of the I Ching, just kind of letting the energy, each of them, I'll focus on heaven energy, and then earth, and water. And fire, and mountain. And lake, and wind, and thunder. And I go into my bouncing expansion. And then I go into the counter swing. And when I do my counter, different variations of it. I start with just kind of the general basic practice, just loosening the body. And then from here, I'll start going with different rotations of the shoulder in relationship to the hip. So now I'll roll it this way, where the palm ends up down in the front. as opposed to palm up in the front. And I'll go back to palm up, and I'll start reaching, just trying to root through my legs while expanding, just to allow the chi and the momentum and the energy to flow through tissues that tend to tighten up overnight. And I'll bring it back down, and then I'll focus on the sort of downward, sideward power. Here, just put a little pause and press, pause and press. With something called the right and left channels. And the right and left channels go from the triangle of the foot at the bubbling well point in the triangle of the foot, up through the legs, through the center of the leg, to the ball and socket joints of the hips, up through each side of the body cavity in the center of each side, and then out through the ball and socket joints of the shoulders, through the center of the arms, to the lao gong points in the center of the palms. Now, each of these is rotating kind of alternately, and I'm feeling the whole channel on each side. I'm kind of rotating the tissues around it to help generate the energy. So I've got this sort of pause in that midpoint, and then they're equal, and then they twist. And they come back to equal, and then they twist the other way. And I'm working with the power and flow of that. This drives energy from the inside outward towards the meridians, from the deep channels of the body, the structural channels of the right and left channel, the tongmai, which is the central channel, and the three dantians, which are lower dantian, middle dantian, and upper dantian. And I'll do the same thing with the back. Going this way, back, pause, back of the arm. These are just some of the variations. There's a lot more. I can literally spend an hour easily just doing these counter swing practices, and spend a good 10 minutes on each, or 5 minutes even on each basic practice, and make tons of variations. It's your body. Explore it. Explore how your mind and intent change the action, change the chi flow, change the momentum. And for counter swing, I go into my column swing. And again, I just start off with a general column swing. Always aware of those right and left channels. And then I'll go, here I've been going palm up, and then palm down on the way back. Palm up, palm down on the way back. This corresponds in Bahua to the heaven palm. Up and out. Go up and forward. And I can go the other way, rounding the palm. Sort of rounding this way and that. This corresponds, if I stay low and around this way, sort of the sides, this is more the earth palm. If I focus more on up and down, it becomes a little bit more of the water palm, particularly if I give it a little bit of release. And I'll go back and forth between them. Sometimes rolling out, sometimes rolling in, sometimes rolling in for a couple, and out for a couple, making changes at different points. And then keeping the hands in one position. Each of these sends the chi in subtly different ways, and the momentum in subtly different ways through the shoulders and through the body. Sometimes I'll reach all the way up and let it move up the spine. If you watch here, there's sort of a dragon spine action here. My spine makes this little ripple. I want that. Sometimes I'll reach way up. Just to really stretch and open here where the small intestine channel attaches into the shoulders and things or connects with the muscles that attach to the shoulders and really stretches that out. It's not uncommon in the morning if a vertebrae is a little misaligned to get a realignment from all this movement. That's one of the wonderful things about Qigong, and particularly some of these really loosening styles of Qigong that I like to practice first thing in the morning and as my warm-up, because they kind of help realign the body. If you have misalignments anywhere in any of the joint relationships or motion should correct that. That's the way our body should be. And when you relax properly and align the body correctly, those things happen naturally. You don't have to force them. You don't have to try for them. That's often potentially creating an injury from force. Instead, we just relax, do the motions, work with alignment, and things correct themselves. That's sort of the natural way of the Tao. I'm a big fan of letting things take their natural course and then applying my efforts in the lightest place with the gentlest energy possible. Sometimes I'll focus on the low, getting the sense of pushing out and pulling in. We can slow that down and just expand, get a sense of using the whole body to expand out and back in. And then counter column swing. I have to move forward a little bit, just hit my screen. Nice and relaxed. Again, sometimes I'll roll it where it goes from palm back in the front to palm up. Palm back in the back, palm up in the front. And sometimes I'll be palm forward in the back and palm out in the front. And again, doing each changes the feel and flow of the energy and motion through the body, activates different channels. Sometimes I'll reach way up. And then one of my favorite ones to do is to let the arm fall back and pat. It stretches the triceps some. It really opens up these channels back here. And I get a nice little padding back here to start loosening up the upper shoulder and upper neck. From the side, you can see it. I hope you can see that. Anyways, it's hard for me on that tiny little camera to see. forth again. And then here, just that sense of using the right and left channels and that twist between them to generate energy and flow. This practice right here, these practices, Wu Xing Long Pai, or teach deep parts of the Wu Xing Long Pai, this right and left channel practice, mastering their movements and their relationships to each other, and the spiral movement that each can create is sort of the essence of the Wu Xing Long Pai system, or the formless dragon system. Tai Chi, Qigong, and Bagua, and Taoist. Always within the context, calm and relaxed, centered and grounded, whole and complete, and alive and lively. And relax down. Usually after this, I begin my basic standing practice, or Zhan Zhuang. Today I'm going to do the 7 posture standing Qigong. Now, in this one, a lot of times, depending upon the amount of time I have and what I want to do, I'll spend anywhere between 15 minutes and a half an hour doing standing Qigong, or Zhan Zhuang, at least at this time during my day. And later in the day, I'll do it again. I'm a big advocate of doing things very often, rather than trying to do super long periods of time at one time. Not that I don't, and I think it's very valuable to do really long periods of Zhan Zhuang and Wu Ji stance, which are the basic standing postures that all other Tai Chi and Qigong come out of. At the same time, particularly for beginners, most people don't have the mental discipline, the energy of mental focus to support that for very long. They might do it 1 or 2 days. Oftentimes they wear out quickly. If you do have that kind of mental fortitude, I encourage you to just press at it, build it. But the average person, from my experience, does not. So if this gets challenging, just, change, take a break for a moment. One of the best ways to take a break so you can maintain the chi that you're building if you're going to stop from any of the postures, because oftentimes we'll have our postures, particularly the 7 posture standing Qigong that I do. If at any time you need a break, say we're up here in the pillar of the sky position, or up here in the piercing the clouds position, or even here in the holding the mountain pose. Those 3 are usually the hardest. Sometimes the Wu Chi can be a little bit more difficult. Anyways, in the case of these, if any of these becomes a challenge, just bring the hands down and back and rest them here as though you're making a triangle right around the Ming med with your hands. It relaxes the shoulders. You can relax the shoulders down, stretch this part that tends to get tight, but maintain the concentration and condensing of the chi while you're standing. So before I start, I usually like to get in contact with the chi, so I'm going to bring the hands here and just pull chi. Inhale, it's like I'm grasping the air gently and just pulling as I exhale, compressing. Now for me, it usually just takes a couple of times. Usually, to be honest, it's the first time, but I like to build the chi a little bit in the hands. Now I'm going to go through a sequence to get into each posture. So we start with gathering a chi from all around. Qi into the mid-eyebrow, or Tianmo, sometimes referred to as the third eye. Gathering the Qi inward and pressing it down to the lower dantian. I'm going to keep my hands in this position with palms sort of facing down, fingers towards each other. I'm going to press out, rotating the arms out and up. I'm going to move into the pillar of the sky position. So I'm going to drop my shoulders. What I'm trying to do here is let the weight of the arms come down and into this right and left channels and just relax all around the whole torso. And we're just going to hold these for today. I'm just going to do about 8 breaths in each one so we don't go too long. The whole goal here is relax and drain tension away, down and in. And then we let the arms come down. Again, I'm not going to hold too long in any of them for this morning since I'm sharing this with you guys. I know it's not terribly exciting or instructive to just watch somebody stand, although it is very powerful to have somebody kind of work you into that. Notice I'm moving down smoothly and evenly, nice and relaxed, maintaining the body. Put the hands back, palms together, get contact with the Qi in the palms, gathering the Qi to the mid-eyebrow, energy Tianmo. And down. This time I'm going to turn my hands as though I'm making a triangle with my index fingers and thumb, but not touching. I'm going to press down and out and sink under my hands and then press back up, pushing the hands out, piercing the clouds. Basically, this triangle is right with that mid-eyebrow point, just slightly elevated. Press the shoulders down, expand the palms out, expand the forearms, almost sort of semicircular energy moving outward. Also, the Ming Men in the low back expands gently outward. let the elbows pull the arms down. Again, we're just going for 8 smooth, relaxed breaths in each posture. This is a really good starting point for this practice. Again, gathering the qi to Tianmong and into the upper dantian. And down. Now here we're going to go into hold the ball or hug the tree. We reach out and around, gathering the qi to the middle dantian. Pausing here as though we're going to stand in Wuji. Now we're going to bend the elbow, fingers pointing towards each other here. Elbows down and out. The fingers are right about the level of the base of the throat. And I want this extension. The elbows are going to sort of extend down and out. This is mountain stance, or stand holding the mountain. There's sort of a mental image here work with, as though everything from here down is a mountain, and right here is the sun rising over the mountain, right in that mid-eyebrow, helping you to clarify the mind and have long, bright vision. I'm looking for places in my body, or I'm observing places in my body that reveal themselves, this point of tension or holding. I'm just going to release that. Try to release it into the downward rooting energy. Into dynamic tension in the qi between the fingers and the palms as I pull them slightly apart, and then press down the right and left channels. Again, I'm going to go to Tianmong, gathering the qi to the mid-eyebrow. And sinking it down to the lower dantian. Time gathering the qi, holding the ball. We're going to do a Wuji posture this time. We want contact with the palms, the Lao Gong points of the palms with each other, but also with the middle dantian. It's almost like the Lao Gong points and the Shen Chu point here in the center of the chest, Tian Chu, make a triangle. And I'm really expanding Zhongding, which is that central equilibrium. When I go, center line goes down, goes up, my tailbone extends, opening up the spine, and expanding. Almost like an infinitely expanding column, both vertically and horizontally and sagittally. And I'm releasing as I'm expanding. gather the chi to the middle dantian, just and compress it into the lower dantian. Next, I bring the hands out, just like I was going to do Tai Chi beginning. And most of the Tai Chi forms have this very similar movement. I come up, I roll the hands back, and I come down to the solar plexus and press the palms down. It's called hold a tiger. It's like you're trying to press a tiger down, not letting it jump up. Whole body is rooting and sinking. Powerful downward energy. And I want to press down, just sinking the chi all the way down through my whole body. Gathering the chi to the lower dantian, just like I did with the middle dantian, only this time the palms. Making a triangle with the lower dantian here. I want to feel that point of contact, so sometimes I might move. This actually comes from a Facebook friend of mine. I watched him do a video on Qigong 18. I'm not sure I can pronounce his name right because we're Facebook friends, but I'll try. Fabrizi Piche, I think. And he talked in his video instruction in working with this. He talked about turning the palms towards each other. And when you lose it, as you turn towards your lower dantian and finding that contact as it makes contact with the lower dantian and losing it with the palms, the palm-to-palm relationship, and going back and forth and finding that sweet spot where you've got both. Now that in itself is its own practice, but it's something to play with. And I just recently came across it by watching one of his instructional videos, and I liked it so much I wanted to share it with you. And if I mispronounced your name, I'm really sorry. Haven't heard it yet, so. And I gather the chi, drawing it in, doing something called Qigong, where I'm going to draw up on the perineum And draw inward on the rectum and urethral muscles gently. Everything, nothing's too hard, but it's going to be a contraction, sort of a gentle gathering and compressing of the lower dantian as I inhale. On the exhale, I'm going to release only the breath, but keep that gentle gathering present and release any stagnant or excess chi through the legs. Gathering the chi one time. One last posture in this sequence. Bring the hands all the way down and around. And now I'm going to focus on the Hui Yin point at the perineum and the tip of the tailbone, and the Lao Gong points in the center of the palms, and the bubbling wall points in the soles of the feet. And then finally, the Bai Hui point at the top of the head. Everything else goes down. And the central channel kind of gets supported and lifted, and everything else goes down. Here, the right and left channels are slightly rotating open energetically. This sort of slow rotation energetically. This helps to bolster the central channel and extend it. If you hear in the background some heavy rumbling, this is just my chi. Okay. There is some heavy equipment outside, moving landscaping next door. And then we relax down, gather the chi to Tianmo and mid-eyebrow point again. Condensing into the dantian one more time. And then close. Bring that left leg in. Gathering the chi. And sink. I hope that was valuable to you. That 7 posture standing Qigong is fantastic. It's one of my favorite Qigongs to do, particularly for standing. You can spend as much time or as little time in those stances as you want. I recommend working towards 8 breaths in each posture as a beginning point, and then as you start getting more advanced, kind of upping that. Doing timing. If you spent 5 minutes in each posture, by the time you finished with all the transitions and everything, you would have spent probably, you get 35 minutes just in the postures if you're doing 5 minutes in each posture, and then the transitions and everything, probably about 40 minutes. That alone is a 40-minute standing practice with some transitions in between. That's very powerful. In fact, the Zhan Zhuang practices, in my opinion, are the most powerful Qigongs that there are. So I'm going to kind of continue on my own for the rest of the morning. That way I can just focus on my practice. But I wanted to share something with you this morning, just simply since we're here and I'm it anyways. So thank you very much. Sure.